We started looking at the way that Paul mentored Timothy and focused in on 1 Timothy chapter 6, where he talks about fleeing from things. But of course, it's not just enough to run away from something. You've got to have a goal to go towards. And so Paul actually says a whole lot more about pursuing than he does about fleeing. And the first thing he says that we should pursue is righteousness. Now, righteousness, that's a real challenge, isn't it, for the beginning of the week? Because we all know sort of theologically that righteousness is right standing with God, and that righteousness is imputed to us, and righteousness comes when we believe in Christ and we lay aside our own sense of self-worth and discover a whole new worth in the Lord. But when it says here that you're to pursue righteousness, it's actually saying that there can be a development in righteousness. Even though righteousness is foundational, there's a sense in which it should be increasingly evident in our lives. We should be keeping that as a goal. I know one of the things that really surprises me is that when you discover that something's foundational, it stays foundational. Trees don't grow away from their roots. They're still rooted even when they're growing. And when we're growing in righteousness, we're growing on that basic foundation that we have a righteousness in Christ. And we're seeing the righteousness that's imputed to us increasingly imparted to us as we draw closer and closer to the Lord and see just how important it is. There are so many aspects to righteousness, but integrity is something that really comes to mind. And I know righteousness at times seems a little bit sterile, because Paul actually wrote that who'd want to lay down their life for a righteous man? For a good man you might want to, but he's putting it at a very basic level. But we mustn't lose those basics. So what I want you to do this week in your ministry and in your life is just to come back to that point of thinking about foundations, and to ask yourself if that foundation of righteousness that is ours in Christ and is imputed to us in him is something that's actually developing in your life, so that those around you can say, I really know that that's a righteous man, someone who's really in right standing with God and right standing in the community too. So that's something to reflect on this week, and I really hope that God blesses you as you discover more and more of that righteousness that we can pursue in him. God bless you.